Hi, welcome to Girl in the Green Wellies. Today I'm going to give you my top 5 tips on preparing your vegetable beds for the autumn and winter. So we're coming to the end of the growing season, towards the end of summer, and hopefully you've managed to get some good crops from the vegetables that you've grown. But once you've harvested your vegetables and your plants have come out of the ground, you're going to be left with a lot of open and bare soil. So today's video, I'm going to give you my top 5 tips on what to do with those beds to give you a good head start for the spring. Number 5, have a good tidy up. I know we think a lot about the beds and the quality of the soil, but around your bed is really important too. So try not to let any debris build up, get rid of all your canes, any loose bits of wood, anything that you've used to support those vegetables growing. Because if you leave them there, slugs and snails are going to overwinter, and in the spring they're just going to pop to life and eat your freshly planted, lovingly grown new plants. So the first thing we need to do really is make sure you've got a nice tidy plot. Number 4, ground cover. The easiest thing to do to make sure that the weeds don't get a good start in the spring is just to simply cover the growing area. It's going to do a couple of things. The first thing it's going to do, like I said, is going to prevent the weeds from growing underneath that ground cover. So using things like cardboard or black plastic or weed suppressant is going to really help keep those weeds down to give you an easier start in the spring. The next thing it's going to do, it's going to warm the soil up a lot earlier than if the ground was left exposed, so you can get a head start on planting in the spring. Number 3, green manure. Now we're not talking fresh horse poo. Okay, so just want to make that very clear. All green manure is a gardener's term for certain type of plants that put nutrients back into the ground. So by sowing seeds such as clover or a grazing rye, you're going to do 2 things. You're going to provide great ground cover and structure to the soil for over the winter to prevent erosion. And in the spring, when you dig those plants back into the ground, you're going to give the ground a whole load more nutrients for your plants to use as they grow in the next coming year. So green manures are a great way to improve your soil quality, structure, and give your plants the nutrients they need when they grow in the spring. Number 2, mulch. Now, all mulch is putting an extra layer on top of your ground. So you can use compost, you can use leaf mould, you can use horse manure. All that's going to do is put a blanket of nutrients over your bed, and the worms that are in there are going to pull those nutrients down, break up the soil over the winter, and make your job in the spring a whole lot easier. The ground's going to be aerated from where all the worms have been, and the nutrients are going to be exactly where you want them, ready for your plants. And number 1 is grow more vegetables. There's loads of vegetables that will tolerate cold frosts or even just colder weather, and just because it comes to the autumn and winter time doesn't mean that you can't plant vegetables for harvesting in the spring. So some of the vegetables that you can grow over winter will be garlic, onions, some cabbages, leeks. You can even plant broad beans, and they will grow in the ground over winter and give you a really early harvest of delicious broad beans in the spring. There's 5 simple things that you can do to prepare your beds for the winter, which will give you the best possible start in the spring. And last little tip, if you have a pond and you're surrounded by trees, don't forget to net it early before the leaves actually fall down. And we found out the hard way last year when our cherry tree dumped all the leaves into the pond, killed all the plants, and then we had to start all over again. Thanks very much for watching. If you like the videos, give us a big thumbs up, subscribe on the link below, and we'll see you again soon.